Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's live stream. We didn't have a stream on Monday, so yeah, we'll definitely take some time to be sure we cover all of our bases today. I said this last week. I wanted to dump this week. I unfortunately I got, let's see here. I shorted here, closed here to look for a sweep of these highs. Honestly, should have just readjusted my stops to our previous thing here because I wanted to hold this high regardless. And this played out really well. And I know some of you guys in the Discord played this short. That's awesome. Very well played. So because I wanted to dump this week, I'm a little bit hesitant on looking for a long position. That said, we are big time at a make or break position for BTC. I will show you guys what I mean if we just take a look at a higher time frame chart such as this one and we go down to a daily time frame. You know, we can see that this zone here was acting as resistance and is now being back tested as support. And if we were to lose this level, I think that we're very much going to have to expect a larger retracement, at least to this zone, or potentially down to this zone. And, you know, what would this be? Ultimately is a deviation back inside this previous range, right? Deviate back into the range. You know, we look to lose this level, back test it somewhere in here. We look for a short. And we swing it down to, you know, this 25-2 zone that we were eyeing. And the reason that I love this level so much is because we have a really nice volume gap here. Right? You can see this gap in volume. Price has spent little to no time here. I would expect price to, let's say, where's my brush? Here we go. Deviate the zone. Back test. Now, let's say deviate the zone to here, sweep some of these lows, back test our short trigger, and then we take this down to here, to which I think we'll put in a range that price will either then break down or make an attempt at new highs. We also have a daily fair value gap here, so I do like that as well. Yeah, I think this is nice. I like this as a setup. If that's lost, then, you know, really our primary target would then be, and I'll just want to double check this. Yeah, I still like the level. I would say our next target would be this zone, at which point I would expect some degree of a bounce. So this would kind of be like my general plan. Now, how quickly this plays out, I didn't draw this to scale. I would expect this to probably go a little bit quicker than this. If price were to regain or let's say hold this level, I was really hoping to be in this zone around the end of May. And I guess we still have 4 weeks worth of price action. Let's see once. Let me look at this. I'm gonna do 4 hour. So if we go down to a 4 hour time frame, let's say look about here, and we do come down. We sweep these lows, back test the zone. Come down here, range for a time. Price then either breaks down or breaks back to the upside, reclaims, in which case this is another massive resistance to contend with, and we could simply sweep the lows, sweep the highs. We would look down or for a move up to here, in which case this would be a final target zone. It would almost be easier if it reclaimed here and then did something like this. Well, regardless, my next very key area, like I said, is this green zone here. So between 25,200 and about 27K. Like I said, there's a fair value gap here, a daily fair value gap, and it's also a volume gap that I would very much like price to fill. I think this would be a great fill here where everyone's expecting lower, fill here, and then get some kind of a move back up. Let's look at our lower time frame. So yeah, you can see this is, you know, same thing, how it's drawn out here. We're basically in this upper range, right? And I'm looking to cut through this one down to this, what would be a new range for our volume gap. We also had some nice moving averages, if I recall. Yeah, so the 21-day moving average currently support. All right, so I don't need this one anymore. So basically this is the range that I'm looking at right now. And you can see we tapped that right at the bottom here. We are also holding the bottom of this range on a 4-hour time frame as of now. This range, if you guys recall, was this from back here. And we can see that we've, what looks to be at this point, deviated back inside. We can see it was acting as resistance here, deviated back inside, and BTC is now attempting to hold the bottom of that range. I favor this one a little bit more. I just like this range. I think that this is a little bit more important right now, but you know, that said, I think it's worthwhile keeping an eye on this other range. Yeah. So we have this nice range here. I've also drawn the fib version of it, which you can see is very well respected all around. Whereas if you have it like this, you have a couple of deviations either way. So what to expect from here? $30,200. 30,200. Okay, most people are positioned here, here, and here. So for sure, I think this is the best zone to open positions. I mean, just right off the bat for a couple reasons. Like I said, we have that daily fair value gap here. We have a volume gap here. This is also the 3A2 is here and the 0.5 fib is here. We have this rising wedge primarily targets the 0.5 fib, which is right here. Also the 24K range high. Bottom of the fair value gap, etc., etc. It all lines up very, very nicely. So, what? So I do like this zone primarily as a long target in here. And I would even like to put in a range there. Locally though, what do we think? Previous month low. Also the point of control. Could lose, then back test. Yeah, the question being what about shorts? Yeah, we'll look at some potential shorts. Obviously, this was the short. I'm not interested in shorting here, but we'll look at some possible like back test scenarios that I would be interested in shorting, and this certainly is not one of them. Okay, so one thing I'm gonna do here, I'm just gonna remove this and remove this, and this is the previous week low. I'm going to add an alert on this and say watch for SFP. Also POC of previous range and 618. Local 618. If we get a sweep of the previous week low here, I would definitely be interested in a long position. Oh man, shorts are gonna get wrecked. Look at all these shorts that just built up into this low here. People just wanted to go straight down. Oh my god, there's so many trapped shorts down here. Oh my god, people are so stupid. Okay, so holding the value area of the day, single print up to roughly 30K. Point of control 3200, which is the point of control of the range, which is also the 618. I'm going to remove this and I'll say if, I'm going to set an alert here. $618 plus POC. Open a short here. So I would look to short. I would be a little bit more. Let me look here. 27. 10 billion negative delta. Longs opening here. Let's look at what are the odds that we make it up there? I don't think they're very good. This one was boom, 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 taken to a T, and then we fell. This is at that 30, 32, okay. Okay, so what I want to point out here is that, you know, I have this set right now to only show larger positions, and these aren't really even the really big positions, right? But what you can see just by looking at the size of these dots here is that the big boys haven't really stepped up on longs yet compared to shorts. We can see that there was a lot of pretty large positions opened up in shorts here. That said, there are a lot of shorts that opened up at the very bottom, and we do have quite a bit of negative delta built up at the lows. So I don't think it would be too surprising for us to get some degree of a move to the upside here. Just how much is to be seen. So we went ahead and we grabbed this easy to grab liquidity here, which is our 100x. These are our 50x, 50 times leveraged shorts. These are our 25 times leveraged shorts. So let's see here. Yeah, about 29.7. 29.7, which puts us at the val of this upper range, as well as, I believe, the 382. Yep. So that's the 382 here. Go ahead and add this. Val of previous range plus 382 plus lick grab potential short. So if price were to visit this area, I may look for some degree of a short opportunity. I would be, however, we have a really nice H3 order block here, which is also our 618 and our point of control. I would be more interested in this zone for a short. It would be our mid-range, the 618, the point of control of this upper range here, and it would also give us a liquidity grab at about 30,200. So a move like this in here, you know, to trade back down, I wouldn't expect this to hold, and we'd probably, you know, get a continuation move to the downside. And I think, you know, the very first thing I would look for, like I marked on my charts here, is an SFP of the previous week low, just a sweep of it, where we come down and maybe grab some of this liquidity here. In which case I may look to, like, something like this would be ideal. Right, like this would be really nice. It would hold bearish market structure intact, right? We have a high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. And then, you know, to get that move down here and then to kind of put in some degree of a range where, you know, price would come down and sort of round out and then, you know, kind of see what it wants to do from here. So that would be that's my general plan on BTC. I would look to short in here. If you really wanted to be safe, you could put it above the VA. I don't think that's necessary though. I think a short position from here would be nice. POC 618 H3 OB short. I think an SFP of this low stop, say below here, back, you know, into basically back into the bottom of this range, I think would be really nice. SFP previous week low to, yeah, we'll just go like that, low, long. Yeah, I'm just not really interested in shorting the val here. I think that we have some nice liquidity in that zone. Sort of. Let's go down to 1 hour. You know, if it weren't this week, specifically, because this week is the week that I really wanted to break down. I'm kind of kicking myself a little bit for being so stingy on an entry. I just wanted to get a better entry on my short, and I should have held on this one here. It was really nice having a position from here. But if it weren't this week, I swear to God, I think the most messed up thing that could happen right now, if I were just to guess and say, like, what would the most messed up thing that could happen right now, what would it be? It would be to get a move back up here, sweep these highs, and then have a massive dump to the downside where we take out the previous low. This, in my opinion, would be the most messed up thing that could happen. So let's ask ourselves why that is. If we just take a look at this, this is today's tape, right? So if you look in here, on this side here, these numbers are volume. On this side here, these numbers are delta. Delta is basically the, putting longs and shorts together. Were shorts more aggressive or longs more aggressive at each price? So this can give you an idea of the amount of trapped positions. So we can see that we put in a very nice chunk of volume right in here at about 29,200 or so. And below that level, there's, in this, at this price, 27 million, 59 million, 25 million, 34 million, 14 million, 17 million, 4 million, so on and so forth of trapped shorts in here. So these people who all positioned below about 29,200, you have 20 million, 30 million, 60 million, 130 million, 155, 190, 200, 210, 220. It's about 200 and let's just say like close to 250 million trapped shorts, below about 29,200. So if we continue to hold that level, these people are underwater. Now, what's one of two things that can happen with all of these shorts that are underwater? they can either get shook out and close their positions, which will pump price, or they can get stopped out or liquidated, which would pump price. Now, if we go ahead and look here, we can see that those shorts that positioned down here, right, down in these lower parts, they opened here and here. So we can see that, the majority of their liquidations, we go ahead and go like this. So this is that wick, right? And this is where likely most of those people positioned. And you can see that these were the positions that opened. We can see that their liquidation levels are at 29.6, which we have yet to tap. And then also at 30,160, 170, right? So if these are where these people position from, and these are their liquidations and maybe estimates of where their stops could be, we can go over here and we could say, all right, everybody who is trapped below this level here, everyone who is trapped below this level, this is the level that we want to hold, will get stopped out here. And about here. Right? So all of these people not stopped out, they'll get liquidated. I'm just going to remove this. I'm going to clone this. As long as price stays above here, we'll go ahead and mark this green. Okay, so this would be, generally my analysis is that all of the people who shorted in this wick, so as long as price remains above 29,200, are underwater. They are at risk of getting liquidated when price reaches about 29,700 here, and especially the majority of those people will be liquidated about 30,160. So for me, I really like this zone would be the value area low. And I'll just go ahead and mark that so you guys can see it. We would have some liquidations going into the value area low, which I'm a little bit indifferent to. I don't know if I necessarily would want to short here, but I would especially short here, being that those people would be liquidated at this point, at the point of control, which is also the 618 with an H3 order block, that we can then put our stops above the previous range value area high. And I think we could catch likely a pretty good short, probably back down to this range low, if not down to the previous week low from there. So again, this would be like my ideal position. I think that this would be very, very nice. And like I said, it would also lead to a lot of these people being then liquidated who shorted, as I've shown you, at the bottom of this wick. Right. So I hope you guys followed that. That's a really clean and easy explanation sometimes of how I do my analysis. Like I said, you can see these are the prices, between 28,700 and 29,200. There's about 250 million in trapped shorts down here. And that's just the ones where the delta shows, right? And then we can go over here and we can say, all right, here's that wick. If we follow these bubbles up at that same time, we can see that 250 million will be liquidated here at this point, and then another 250 million could be liquidated here at this level, all of which are in this candle right here, right? And we're assuming that the majority of those positions are underwater, right, at the bottom of this wick. So we would look to basically hit these liquidation zones, which would get rid of ultimately these shorts that positioned at the lows, right? And you can see as soon as we came down here, you can see that a bunch of short positions, this is our net shorts, you can see that it was going up while price was also going up, right? Which is not really what you want to see. If you're short at the range lows, you're thinking, okay, well, these people are obviously going to get stopped out. So what you want to see then is we're going to see a huge basically a candle come down, back to these lows here on our net short positions, showing that these people have been liquidated. So that's something that we'll look for. as price continues to go up. And like I said, primarily targeting these levels here. So yeah, I would say this is my primary position. This is what I'm going to look for. I'm not really going to get too fancy or look to short before this, but this would be my primary spot. If we just go ahead and go straight through this, I'm definitely going to look for a swing failure of these highs here. I do believe, like I said, and I started saying this last week. I very much believe that this week is a local top. I do not think that we're going to be creating new highs, and if we did, I think that it has to happen today or tomorrow. I wouldn't even say it should happen on Friday. I would say today or tomorrow. If we're going to sweep these highs or these highs, that needs to happen today or tomorrow. And wherever we're at from there, I'm definitely not going to be looking for a long position, a swing long position, probably for a couple weeks, right? I'm definitely going to be, looking to short. I'm going to be looking for scalp longs, such as the SFP here, to which, like I said, I'm going to look for something like this. It comes down, swing failure, move back up here, and then come down here, to which point I'm going to look to trade this range because I want this volume gap to be filled, trade the range. If within 2 weeks time has passed, we can then look for a swing long position to trade back up to potentially maybe the highs or at least somewhere. We can do some evaluating to see where we want to trade that to. Do you guys have any questions? I think that I pretty thoroughly covered BTC. All right, cool. We will do a very brief analysis on Ethereum. How much time? Yeah, we'll do like a little 15-minute analysis on ETH. So I hope this makes sense for you guys. I really like this setup. I think it's the most appropriate that we could take given the circumstances. I think it would be really savage, as a matter of fact. Yeah, I mean, something to this effect, basically. Right, kind of come back up here, get that move. The only difference would be at this point, I would expect more of a breakdown. But yeah, something ultimately to this effect, right? Get a move very quickly back up into this zone, and then we kind of get this move down. Yeah, it looks pretty clean, huh? Pretty clean. What would be even more savage is if right here we swept all these highs, but this could be a trap too, right? So yeah, something to this effect I think is really nice. So we'll go ahead and we'll save this bar pattern. We'll go ahead and set it aside here. Okay. ETH. ETH. My God, ETH. Key area of support. If lost, big bad news for ETH. I don't think it's going to be lost. This could be a deviation. Man, both ETH and BTC, just like look at these. I mean, look at these zones, like not these zones, but like both of these charts. Look at all these lows that could just get swept up like you wouldn't believe. Just like give them one of these, sweep all these lows. Same thing with ETH. I mean, just look at all this. It's just screaming like give reverse God candle, just sweep all the way down in here and then I'm gonna just take a quick 2-minute break and I'll be right back and I'll do a brief analysis on ETH. And I'll just leave this posted up for you guys so you can see my setup on BTC where I would look to position. And like I said, I think this is an aggressive stop. I think we could even ever stop here, to be honest with you, to give us a better RR. All right, I'll be right back. One thing I do want to be very clear on is that all of these shorts are only trapped so as long as price stays above this level, right? So if we lose this level and we start seeing continuation, all of these shorts that were in here are now saved at break even or so. And I could see maybe one more sweep before going up. But at this point, I mean, we could start to consider that we would just simply have continuation to the downside. I think this plan looks really good, and I like this short a lot as long as, you know, this 29,200 zone holds and price can, you know, continue to get some degree of a move to the upside and while sustaining this level, right? Maybe doing something like this, you know, coming into some of these zones here and, you know, eventually kind of getting, you know, into this area maybe sometime tomorrow, right? I do think that that would be really, really, really nice. Matter of fact, I'm just going to lower this a little bit to give me some time to get to my computer when and if we do get that alert. Okay, cool. So like I said, we'll go ahead and take a look at Ethereum. I also want to see the funding rates quick. Yeah, pretty negative funding rates across the board with BTC. I'm definitely not going to be shorting here for sure. Okay, ETH. Let's just go ahead and start getting rid of shit. So this was the rising wedge that we were watching for. Majority of people are positioned here, here, and here. Ugh, it's ugly. Ugly, ugly, ugly. Wow. 60. 60. It's right where that fair value gap or the single print goes to. Let's go ahead and run on ETH. $7 billion negative. $51 and 60 definitely looks like a good mark. So 2012 and 12, 40, and 60. I think this is the primary one though. 50. $40. Oops. $90. Primarily trapped below that level. Kind of what you want to see hold. %3. 2.5. $618 plus val. And I bet we have H1 OB. I think I would primarily be looking for something like this. And I think we could even, maybe we can bring this up a little bit. So as price holds and stays above kind of that 1990 area, you know, I'd be looking for that. Now that said, if ETH isn't showing a lot of strength, we have to keep in mind that the 382 and the top of the wedge do align pretty nicely in here. So if we see price come up here and fail to hold and then, kind of come down, then, that 382 and wedge resistance, we really did gain acceptance back into the wedge then at that point, right? And we would simply look to trade the wedge, which would then bring us down to, I mean, I guess I don't know if you would really trade the wedge at this point, but I would look really towards this monthly open. But I think that this is a really nice pocket of liquidity that I had called for a while ago, kind of hitting this 1940 spot. And having hit that, I mean, I think it's a decent spot for some degree of a bounce, but whether or not we're going to see, a move all the way back up here is to be seen. I'm not really confident in it. I would more so believe that BTC would do it, but even then, I'm not crazy about it either. So we'll just kind of have to wait and see how it plays out. I would be looking for tomorrow night to maybe see some degree of that retracement. Tomorrow night, yeah. Yeah, I don't think we're going up there. This would probably be the first place I'd look for a long. So these would be my setups, I guess, for ETH is, looking at this level here, assuming that we hold above where these shorts are trapped and we have some degree of continuation to the upside, we can look to, this 382 for me and the top of the trend line's an interesting spot. I don't know that I'd be overly eager to short there, but it could be a possibility if like we came up here, grabbed this liquidity, and then kind of did something like this, then maybe we can look for an entry with our stop above here. Basically like an attempt to gain back above, closure below, sweep right, grab the liquidity, closure here, and then we can look with our short trigger at this point and the stops above here. Otherwise, again, like I really like this H1 order block, which is also the value area low of the previous range, and the 618. Like everything about this area lines up really, really nicely. And it would also, liquidate all of the shorts that are trapped, down here, right? Similar plan for BTC. If we can continue to hold some of these levels and maybe get some continuation to the upside, I would really like to, maybe we kind of get a move into this zone that we, short, stops above previous high, and look to trade it back down to here, and ideally down to the previous week low. I would consider a long scalp in the event that we had an SFP of this low. So if like we came down here and had like a pretty big candle, we came down and hit the previous range value area and then closed back inside the range above this low here, I would look for some degree of a long setup with my stop below here to, again, like I said, kind of trade up to here. But I would look to this zone as a take profit, and then, of course, this zone as a take profit for me as well. So I would consider something like that, but I wouldn't want to spend too much time down here, and I definitely wouldn't want to see a closure below the previous range val or the bottom of the channel, right? Because ultimately, what did we determine from our analysis is that there are a lot of shorts trapped below here, and you have to think of that trapped psychology. So like mentally, if you're ever trapped in a position, what do? Well, when price revisits your entry, you think to yourself, well, I'm either A, going to add more, right? Or B, I'm going to close my position, or I'm going to hold out because I think we'll have continuation to the downside, right? That kind of psychology. So if we come down here and you start seeing it break down, you might think, okay, well, I'm going to add more because I think we're going to break down. And then we come back here, close, you're in a higher, you're in more of a position, and then you have continuation to the upside to where you're, basically double liquidated, right? Or otherwise, maybe price continues to sort of dance up here, and you're thinking, God, we're not breaking down. Maybe I'll close my position, in which case will help fuel for more of a move up and liquidate the people that did not close their positions. So I think that we're in a pretty interesting spot right now, and you have to keep in mind sort of that trapped psychology that people have down here. We did have an SFP of this low, so it was pretty nice of a setup at the very least for a scalp up to this point. But yeah, I would just keep in mind this level here. So as long as price holds above this level or continues to trade above this level, there are a lot of nervous bears below here, right, that shorted this low and would really like to see price come back down, right? And they could even be adding some shorts in here in order to bring their average price up in hopes that that would save them, from their already losing position. And we can see, by looking at funding rates, they're largely negative on BTC and Ethereum. And that tells us that, yeah, people really are shorting into this low, right? Not only do we have a lot of these trapped positions here, but people are actively shorting into this low still, right? So yeah, anyway, that would be my two setups. Like I said, I would consider yeah, we do have a fair value gap down to here. Is it on the 4 hour? Yep, so just about. Yeah, so like I said, if we had that sweep, I would consider the long. Otherwise, I think primarily looking to like this upper zone. Somewhere in here really would be a nice area for a short. Likewise on ETH, looking somewhere in this area for a short position, but would maybe take something like this with a short trigger here and my stop here in the event, of something like that playing out. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask in the Discord. Thanks for sticking around. I know it was a pretty long live stream, but I did want to be sure we had all of our bases covered, considering that we didn't have a live stream on Monday. So I'll be sure to post these in the Discord. And like I said, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. All right, we'll see you guys in the Discord. Thanks for watching.